All right, so we're back, and we're finally going to taste this delicious Malbec from Handcraft. So, first we're going to start by opening this guy, and this bottle has a cork in it, so we're going to need a corkscrew. Now, this corkscrew's name is Diana. I find naming your corkscrew helps form a bond with the corkscrew and makes it more harmonious. Here's a hot tip for when you're opening bottles, okay? When I first started, nobody taught me this. I would try and cut the foil here, above the lip, right? That's not a very good place to cut the foil. What you should do is place the foil cutter below the lip. Now you can leverage it. I can hold the bottle like this, right? So that blade is a lot less likely to fly off. If you're cutting up here, right, you can slip and that blade can fly. And you don't want that because the foil cutter's not really that sharp. Just a heads up. All right, so you're gonna face it towards the guest. You're going to cut the foil right like so. I usually go one way and then saw in and come back around. Now mind you, my wine presentation skills are quite rusty, but let's see if we got this guy. Oh, and there we go. So that's the cap. We cut the foil, it's off. Now we're gonna open up the bottle of wine. This is called a two-stage wine opener. Why? Because this little valve here has two stages for you to leverage against the opening, the top of the wine bottle to open it. So here we go. Here's stage one. Boom, we pull it out a little, and then stage two. And there you go. Our wine bottle's open. Now what we're going to show today is the difference between how a wine tastes when you swirl it for 90 seconds versus when you don't swirl it for 90 seconds. What's going on there? The wine is going to become aerated, and at 90 seconds it releases the maximum amount of aromatics. So you're going to notice a distinct difference in the taste of the wine after 90 seconds of swirling. What do we mean by swirling? A lot of people put the wine in the glass and then do one of these. That's cool. You don't need to do it like that. If you hold it in your hand like this, you're going to warm up the wine. You may not want to do that if the wine is already at room temperature. So an easier pro level way to swirl your wine, or at least an easier way for me, so I don't make a mess, is you set it down on a surface, right? Take two fingers and then you just rotate it around like that. And again, after 90 seconds, that's when gas chromatography studies have shown the maximum amount of aromatics will come out of that wine. So that's what we're going to shoot for today. We're going to set a stopwatch, and Sherry's going to swirl his wine for 90 seconds. My glass, we're going to leave unaerated, and we're going to try those two wines together and see if the aeration for 90 seconds makes a difference in the flavor profile. And I think it will. So here we go. I'm going to pour two glasses, and we're going to swirl one. So I'm going to start by showing Sherry how to aerate the wine properly, which is really surprisingly easy. You'll see. So we want to pour our wine glass just a little bit where it starts to bevel in. That's where most wine glasses are made for that to be the proper measure of wine for a single glass, which is 5 or 6 ounces depending on who you're talking to. So this is going to be the one that we're going to swirl, right? And so just a little gentle boom. There we go. It doesn't have to be too aggressive.
All the way up to the top?
No. The idea is just that we're moving it around a little bit. And this is usually what you see when people go in to taste wine. You'll see them give it a couple little light swirls, then go in for the sip. We'll talk a little bit about how to taste wine properly in just a minute. So we're going to call it 5 seconds, 6, 7, 8.
Is this enough?
That's looking pretty good.
What do the streaks mean on the side?
So those are what we call legs, and they will indicate the relative sugar content of the wine. So the longer the legs, typically the higher the amount of sugar. Yeah. Legs on this wine are a little long, so looks like it's going to be a little bit on the sweeter side, but as we smell them one against the other one, this one already smells a lot more flavorful. And we're just passing around the 2/3, 60-second mark, right about there. So when you go in to taste your wine, one of the things that you want to do when you taste it is you want to take a light sip and then roll it around in your mouth. And that's going to expose the wine to all the different parts of your tongue, because the different parts of your tongue are going to sense different flavors and detect them more strongly. The parts of your tongue that detect bitter flavor notes are different than the parts that detect sour notes, and indeed there are different areas of the tongue. So you want to make sure that you coat your mouth as well as your gums and the inside of your cheeks too. So that's why you'll see people like swish it around and slosh it around inside of their mouths. So that should be around 90 seconds or so, I'm betting. You know what? It doesn't even matter because we're not using gas chromatography in order to analyze the amount of aromatic compounds that come out of it. So now we can taste these wines together, and the cool thing is a lot of the flavor that comes out of the wine is going to actually come from the aroma as you go in to indulge in that first sip as well. So, yeah.
So do you smell it first?
So indeed, you want to smell the bouquet of the wine, and the wine glass is shaped in such a way so as to focus that bouquet into your nose. So you can waft it. With wine, it's not as big a deal. With spirits, you always want to waft because spirits are a higher strength, and there's a lot more vapor that's going to come off of them. And also, when you go to smell wine and enjoy its bouquet, several small sniffs is going to give you a better read than one long sniff. So you go in to take a few light sniffs versus one, you're going to get more out of it. And yeah, so that's how you sniff, smell wine properly. Enjoy its bouquet, that is to say. And now we go in for a little bit of a sip. So I slurped in a little bit there to aerate that wine in my mouth. That's replicating the effects of swirling it in the glass. Same exact process is happening. We're basically oxygenating the wine by forcing oxygen into it by agitating it, albeit rather slightly in the glass, or rather forcibly, through sucking air in through my mouth. And so that's how we taste it. This wine to me has actually a pretty high acidity. It's rather tart. It's pretty lean. That is to say that the flavor profile is not like overly in your face. It's not like too grapey. It's very nice.
It tastes like cherries to me.
Cherries.
Like dark cherries.
Yeah. Cherries, plums, dark red fruits, pomegranate. I'm getting big notes of that. But that's in the wine that we've not been swirling. So let's swap a little bit and see what we think about for the other one.
Wow. I can't believe what a difference it makes.
Yeah. I think it's a really perceivable difference, both on the nose as well as on the palate.
I always thought it was just a hoity-toity thing that people did, like, to look cool. Now I actually see, like, the practical purpose of it, so I think I'm going to have to swirl my wine from now on.
Yeah, particularly if it's a younger red. You will see less of an effect if it's a white wine as well. So it works particularly well on younger reds. Older reds, you don't want to over aerate them. So there you go. Cheers.